The United States warning Vladimir Putin there will be catastrophic consequences if Russia uses nuclear weapons. That from the National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan in an interview on NBC's Meet the Press.
If Russia crosses this line, there will be catastrophic consequences for Russia. The United States will respond decisively. Russia understands very well what the United States would do in response to the use of nuclear weapons in Ukraine because we have spelled it out for them.
Last week, Putin warned of nuclear retaliation if the West continues what he called nuclear blackmail. The Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says he does not believe the Russian leader is bluffing. Meantime, violence is erupting across Russia after President Putin called up 300,000 reserve troops to fight in Ukraine. This video shows people running for cover after a gunman fired at a military recruiting center in Siberia today. Officials say the man injured a Russian military officer. Russian state media report the gunman walked into the office yelling, "No one will go to fight," and "We will all go home now." Officials say police officers arrested the man. Meantime, this video appears to show a guy throwing a Molotov cocktail or a series of them at another military recruiting center. Local officials confirmed that that building was set on fire earlier today. According to our corporate cousins at Sky News, a suspect is in custody. The attacks come as Russian officials continue to hold what the U.S. calls sham referenda in controlled territories in Ukraine. In the northeast city of Kharkiv, here's NBC senior national correspondent Jay Gray.
Shep, good evening. And look, the referenda is across 4 regions of Ukraine, from the east through the south, the area, the land size of Poland or larger. Most of that, but not all, occupied right now by Russian troops. The vote's been going on for 4 days. It ends tomorrow. And we use that term vote rather loosely. Many of the ballots we've seen have been delivered by armed Russian soldiers to people in apartments and houses in these regions. They are voting on annexation, something that Russia says would make those territories their own and give them the ability really to rule over those territories. But more importantly, they say that they will use any means necessary to protect their land, which would be something they would hope would divert the ongoing counteroffensive from Ukraine fighters, which has been going very well over the last several months here. We are hearing from not only those in Ukraine, including the President Zelensky, but all of the Western allies, that this vote is really a sham, that there is no fair or free election going on, and that the results will not be recognized. Let's talk a little bit about the reaction inside Russia. Right now, protests continuing, thousands pouring into the streets, 2,000 or more arrested over the last several days, really pushing back on the mobilization plan announced by Russian President Vladimir Putin, calling up 300,000 men to join the fight here in Ukraine. Hundreds have been fleeing that call up. We've seen lines at border crossings, some of them stretching for 15 miles with cars, all of those anxious to get out of the country, avoid this draft, avoid this call-up. That comes while, again, there continues to be unrest and real questions about what's happening on the Russian side of this ongoing fight. That's the latest from here in Kharkiv. I'm Jay Gray. Back to you now. Shep.
Jay, thanks.